Hello, movie patient, and welcome to Film Therapy. I'm Brienne, also known as Miss Movies, also known as your film therapist. I am not a real therapist, but I play one on the internet just for this show. And as with every show, I have a guest patient, and my guest patient today is Aaron Turner. Hello, Aaron. How are you?
Hello, Miss Movies, my movie therapist. How are you today?
Well, I'm doing pretty well, maybe not doing so well.
Oh no.
I was telling Aaron before we started that I'm the only one that knows how to fill up the Brita in my house. And we also have no heat. So that's happening.
It's
That's
like Little
happening,
House on the
guys.
Prairie there.
It is. I am Laura Ingalls Wilder. I should have braided my hair. I didn't have time for that. But you know what?
Next time.
Now a lot of nostalgia is coming to my mind because Laura Ingalls Wilder and I love her. Anyways, I don't want to get on a tangent already.
It's the only VHS. It's the only VHS tapes my grandma ever owned was Little House on the Prairie and Homeward Bound.
Aww.
She loved that stuff.
That television show was just great, and I can't remember the guy's name, Michael something. Why am I
Michael
it's
Landon.
Yes, I was like, "Why am I blanking?" Michael Landon. Michael Landon's amazing. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have never joined us for film therapy, well, thanks for stopping by today, even if it's for just a minute. Here's how the show works. I'm gonna ask Aaron 3 questions. They're the same 3 questions about film each time. What is a film that inspires you? What is a film or a scene from a film that triggers a memory for you? Perhaps it's painful, maybe it's happy. And what is a film that helps you through difficult times? So those are the 3 questions. I started the show because, hey, I have depression just like everyone else, right? I mean, we all do. We all do.
True
I
that.
was a therapist this morning. I mean, it was great. Worked through a lot of stuff. Although at the very end, she asked me a question. It was asking about some, personal goals that I have this year. And I was like, wow, we don't have time for this. There is no time to get into everything that I need to get into, which means I'll see you next time.
Are you paid by the hour? Because I got a lot to go through.
I was like, this isn't gonna work. This is gonna be a to be continued. So, anyways, that's how it goes. But before we do that, let's get to know Aaron a little better. Aaron, who are you? What do you do? How do we know you?
That's a really good question. What do I do? I don't professionally. I do a lot of boring things.
Okay, tell us though, because we want to know.
Uh, okay. I guess the best way to explain it is if you have medications that are really expensive and your insurance says, we don't want to pay for that. I work as sort of a liaison between the insurance and your doctor's office to try to get that taken care of for you so you can pay
Mm.
less money. So I'm a man that's behind the curtain just trying to get you your money. You'll never meet me. You'll never know who I am, but I will help you. So
You are Mr. Incredible, just trying to get that old lady, what she needs
yeah, yeah, it
for
is.
her
And
claim. For her claim.
somebody I'll never meet, somebody I'll never know,
Mhm.
trying to get their stuff taken care of. Mostly, yeah, it's a lot of tedious work, but it's important work.
It is
I should say.
important work,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
Because, yeah, you probably do you work with like really high end drugs that you, or is it's not with a drug company that you work? You work
I
specifically with a broker company?
well,
Like, how does
I
that work?
actually work for a retail pharmacy company. Right?
Okay.
It's a part supermarket, part pharmaceutical conglomerate at the moment. They're well known out of Florida. You can draw your own conclusions from there of what company that is. Um, but yeah, we there's a big warehouse. I work in an office, and there's a big warehouse that has all the drugs in it, all the expensive stuff, and it's unmarked, as I guess, so no one can come in and steal everything.
Right. You don't want to do that.
But it's not like I mean, we don't have like OxyContin or nothing like too extreme there. It's mainly just like breathing medications, things that are
Mhm.
super expensive or new on the market for people.
Very good. So I'm going to get that address from you right
Whoa.
after this. I'm just joking.
Oh, now.
I mean, guys, I'm not going to fly to Florida. I mean, maybe I would.
It's cheap.
No.
It's too cold in Florida right now. My goodness. Like I don't know where how warm or cold it is where you are, but
Mhm.
it's like I think it's
62,
yeah,
I'm sure.
it was like 30 this morning when I got up, and I'm not used to that. I've lived in Florida for 3 years now. I'm not used to
Mhm.
these things. As a
Mm.
matter of fact, I was cleaning out my truck not too long ago, and I had an ice scraper from where I used to live up north. I was like, why do I need this anymore? It's an ice
Right.
scraper. I used it this morning, like
Wow.
because there was ice on my windshield. I live in Florida, folks, like Orlando, Florida. Like weird, weird stuff.
It is weird stuff. What's not weird stuff is this first question, which
Oh,
is what is a film that inspires you, Aaron?
oh man, I debated about this a lot. I thought about something current, like I mulled over The Disaster Artist. I thought that would
Mm.
have been a good one. But then I landed on something I just love to death and rewatched last night, and that's Drew Goddard's Cabin in the Woods,
Oh,
or The
Cabin in
Cabin
the
in the Woods, I should say.
Woods.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
just
it. I like it.
it's. Have you seen the film?
I have seen Cabin
Okay,
in the Woods.
okay,
Thank goodness.
okay,
We've
okay.
started the year off strong, guys. I've seen the
Yes,
film that you're
yes.
asking
I
about.
just I just wanted to know because like the funny thing is like my sister and I, like she is like my movie go-to person, like for the family. Like when she wants to go see something, we'll go see it together. And we went to see Cabin in the Woods, and we've seen like a lot of like scary movies together, and she hated Cabin in the Woods. Just could not.
Hmm.
She's like, I don't get it, and I loved it. Like I'm sitting there, you think I was watching like ET or something. Like I'm just mesmerized by like what's on screen. I'm like, I totally get everything. Like it's like Scooby Doo. It's like all these things like all mixed in one. How did this happen?
Do you like comedy horror films? Is that what it stems from?
I think so because when I was a kid, like me and my buddy Nick and my brother, we would go to our video store to get VHS tapes. I know kids, if you don't know, it's VHS tapes. And we would rent like maybe 2, 3 monster movies, get a big pizza, just hang out all weekend. Like when we were kids, watch like, Slugs and all these terrible,
Mm,
awful monster movies. And we
yes.
would crack up the whole time. But then again, we would also see movies like Hellraiser or something that would just scare the crap out of us. So I guess in a way, it kind of brings me back to those times of like just cracking up at stuff and not taking it so seriously. And that's what I appreciate about it. Like it's the Cabin in the Woods is serious when it needs to be serious, I guess, but it's also incredibly light, but not offensive to horror fans because I'm a huge horror fan. You can see behind me, I have a Nightmare on Elm Street and Evil Dead poster. Like I'm
Mm.
a big horror nut, so it's not offensive to me at all. It actually takes a loving hand to the genre, and that's why I like it because it's just endless possibilities of like things like we would talk about as kids. Like, wouldn't it be funny if like there was a killer unicorn and it stabbed somebody? Like, wouldn't that be weird? And then it happens in the movie, and it's like spoilers, but I guess that's it.
Now, how do you feel about Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
That one I actually haven't seen,
Okay.
so I
That's
don't
one I
know.
recommend. I definitely recommend it. I mean, there is a cabin in the woods in that, so it's a little bit full circle
There you
in a
go.
way. In a way.
Like, yeah, absolutely. And I look at something like this past year, like Happy Death Day, which
Mm,
is something I
yes.
looked at and was like, "Ah, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. And I ended up loving that movie. Like it's so ridiculous, but at the same time, it's kind of sweet.
The
So
Groundhog Day concept for Happy Death Day is one that I just really appreciate. I know it doesn't work well on television, but I find that it's so much fun in movies. But I guess you have to do it right, and I feel that they did it right with Happy Death Day.
yeah, absolutely. Blumhouse, they always do the best they can. And the best part of that movie is that at the end, spoilers again, when they're talking at the end and she's like, he goes, "Oh, this is like Groundhog Day." And the girl responds, "What's Groundhog Day?" Like that's like my favorite line in the whole movie because it's like, yeah, that would totally happen these days.
That would happen these days. So, what about Cabin in the Woods is inspirational?
I think it's just the fact that you take all of these elements of different things, like you take like Evil Dead and Hellraiser and these, even like I said, even Scooby Doo, like it's all in there. Like Chris Hemsworth character is basically Fred from Scooby Doo, and they have a stoner that's basically Shaggy, and they have Velma who's the smart girl, and they have Daphne the redhead. Like it's all in there. But I think it's just you could take all of these things and make it coherent and come at it with such a okay, we're going to deconstruct this, but we're going to show it in a way where people that may not like horror will appreciate it, and then people that love horror will absolutely fall in love with it. So I guess that's it. Like the possibilities are endless with a movie like this.
I really appreciate that you showed me how each character mirrors to Scooby Doo because I didn't think of that when I saw the movie and I have never put that together. So now I get to watch it again and love it even more.
That's the best part of that movie is you keep going back to it and you find different things. You're like, oh my god, I can't. That is true. That is like this person.
Hmm. Perfect. I love it. Let's move to the second question, which is what is a film or a scene from a film that triggers a memory for you? Perhaps it's painful, maybe it's happy. And if you could tell us a little bit, actually, before we get into it, what you told me right before we started, that would be amazing about you
Okay.
watching this scene.
Yeah, so I like to be prepped. I like to be
Uh
prepped
huh.
for the show. So I
Yes.
rewatched Cabin in the Woods last night, and I rewatched this particular clip. And I was at work, and I was on break, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, just hanging out from the workday, and I'm watching the scene, and I just like I feel it coming. I'm like, oh no, it's coming, and then just the tears start rolling, and I'm like looking away, like looking down, looking away, like don't look at me, don't look at me. But the scene I'm talking about is it's the beach scene from Warrior.
Okay. I have
The
seen Warrior.
Yes,
Yay.
yes. The Gavin O'Connor Warrior. Shout out to Ben Bateman for that. It's it's these two brothers. I mean, the storyline goes it's two brothers that are estranged with their father, who they're also both estranged from. And there's this scene on the beach where they meet after a long period of time of being apart, and it's like Joel Edgerton's character, uh, forget his name, is Brendan. He's comes up to Tom Hardy's character, who's his brother Tommy, and he's saying like, hey, what's going on, man? Like it's been a long time, and Tommy's just not hearing it. Like he's not. I'm not here for you. I'm not here to hear that kind of garbage. And it kind of mirrors like the relationship that I feel like my brother and I have, because we have sort of an estrangement there. And there's a line that Tom Hardy says that's like it's crushed, because it's like Joel Edgerton is this guy, he's the older brother, but he's always the one that feels like he's right. Like he made the right decisions. Like I left because of this, and this. And Tommy's like, you weren't there. I needed you. And it hurts to see that. And they're both two great actors, of course, so it's even better.
Is that particular dialogue that you've had with your brother?
Kinda, in a sense, yeah, but in a different context, yeah. I do feel like I am the kind of person that is like, oh, I'm totally right. Like I don't have to listen to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And I think that's probably what Brendan's character was trying to portray, that you know you think you always make the right decisions and this is the right call and I'm doing this for the right reasons, and it's like maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was right for you, but it wasn't right for this person, and you can't see it from the other side. So when Tommy is kind of saying like, there's a line where Joel Edgerton says like, he's like, how you doing? And Tom Hardy's like, who are you? It's like, well, I'm your brother. And he's like, oh, really? Were you in the Corps? Because Tommy was a Marine. He's like, no, I wasn't. No, Tommy, I was in the Corps. He's like, well, you ain't no brother of mine then, because my brother's in the Corps. It's like, just it hurts.
Hmm.
So
How far apart are you from your brother in terms of age?
we're 3 years apart. I'm
And
3 years older.
I was gonna say, are you older?
Yeah.
So you really do mirror the Joel Edgerton character in
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, a little bit. Just in different things. I mean, I don't want to get into specifics here because, of course, he's not
Mhm.
here to defend himself. But
Right.
it's just kind of like maybe all those times that I was like, yeah, like this guy he doesn't know what he's talking about. Maybe I was the person that was actually wrong,
Hmm.
or maybe I wasn't completely right. So it's kind of a reflective scene that hits hard.
But that's really good that you can see that too, because then knowing what you know now and knowing how you feel about your brother now, you can going forward like m- make different choices, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, and like in my head, I'm like, well, we can just, we can always fix it. Like we can always make it right. There's always time, and there's not
There's
always
not
time.
always time. There's
No,
definitely
that's
not always time.
yeah, that's the thing.
I,
Um,
I find that as I get older, the older I get, the more I'm able to see farther in front of my face, if that makes sense to you. But
sure.
like the younger you are, you only see what's right in front of you and you only notice your needs. But the older I get, the more I notice other people and other people's needs and that of my family. And actually, this is something I was talking about with my therapist today. is that I'm going on a vacation with my family, and I am not excited about it. And I feel very guilty to not be excited. And I find that once I was able to verbalize what I felt like, the goal of the trip is like for my mom because she's not well. And so once I was able to realize that that is why we are doing everything, I was able to let go of like it's not really about excitement. It's about like it's about doing something together.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I can finally look at this from I don't necessarily have to be excited, but I have to do this for someone that I love. Like I have to be there for them because this is what they need right now.
Yeah, during the holidays, my wife and I do what I like to call the Christmas tour, when you go
Mm,
to, like, all the different families' houses,
right.
and it's something that you kinda, like, after a while, it just becomes taxing. It's like, "Oh my god, like, we gotta go here, we gotta talk to Aunt Edna." I don't really have an Aunt Edna, but we gotta go to her house and play checkers because it's what we always do, and it
Did you
kind of
pick Aunt Edna because of vacation?
I may have,
Okay,
but
okay.
anyhow, but we do that, and after a while, it's like, God, why do we even do this anymore? And it's like you kind of realize after a while that it's not for you at all.
Mhm.
And something else that happened to me like last year, which was like the worst year of my life in terms of loss. But my uncle had died, and he was always like the family like funny guy,
Mhm.
and like not having him around was so weird.
Yeah.
Like he had passed away just out of nowhere, and it was so weird because he's always cracking a joke. He's always like like even when there's tension, as there is within families, he's always the guy that like breaks the ice, and it just man, it was a crusher.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah. Thank you for
Um,
that.
and then sometimes you think like, yeah, where's that person and where is that spirit? I'm sure it's still there watching over you. It's probably thinking, "Who's gonna crack the first joke?" Like, "Come on, guys."
Just to give you a sense of who he was, him and my uncles are like he's the ribber of the group, and he always likes to mess with my uncles. So they do like a Christmas Secret Santa every year with them, and he got my uncle Jody they went golfing one time, and my uncle Jeff, who had died, like was way better than my uncle Jody, and he framed a picture of him playing golf and signed it to my uncle Jody, saying like to my number one fan, hope you play better next time. Like that's just how funny he was, and
Perfect.
he's
I
just very
love it.
lighthearted that way.
I love it. Let's get into our final question, which is what is a film that helps you through difficult times?
Well, I mean, how could it be anything else other than the Shawshank Redemption?
Oh, yes. A third movie that I've seen. Hooray.
Bat a thousand. I mean,
Yes.
it's a movie that literally gives its message. Andy Dufresne crawled through a river of crap and came out clean on the other side. Like he does it, sums it right up perfectly. A
Mhm.
guy that was, not. I mean, this has happened to me. I don't parallel this story, but he was put in
I hope
prison for
not. I hope not.
yeah, for real. He was put in prison for a crime he didn't commit, and he got out and he was clean on the other side, but had experiences on the way and persevered and got through a corrupt system. So I think it sends a positive message at the end of the day. Like
How many
Andy,
Yeah,
no, go ahead.
sorry. Oh, I was gonna say, how many times have you seen it?
Whew, that is a good question. Have completely probably like 50 times,
Mhm.
partially even more because it's always on TV. And when it's on, it's one of those movies like you just, all right, Shawshank's on. I got 2 hours. Like let's
Mhm.
watch this.
I've seen it one time,
Oh my.
and what the other thing is, like, I didn't have cable, so it's not like it would be on for me, like, so, yeah. That I miss out on a lot of movies because I didn't have cable, and I don't have cable, I don't know, and so, like,
I
I
don't
have to
anymore either.
scroll.
So
Yeah, a lot of cord cutting has been happening of late, and so when you do that, you don't get to have those moments of, "Oh, this is on. I can watch this right now because it's on. Hey, I might as well."
yeah, it's it's a shame too because that movie is just it's evergreen, I guess is the term
Mhm.
you would use. Like I kind of, and this is a weird parallel, but to me, it's like Jurassic Park. Like that movie just never gets old. Like I could watch Jurassic Park 50 times in a row and I'm still fine with it because it's Jurassic Park. Like it's it's great. And then Shawshank is kind of the same way. Like everything under the sun happens to this guy. Like
Mhm.
from, being assaulted physically and sexually to the system keeping him down to one of his proteges gets murdered. Like it's just all over the map. And yet, after all of it, Andy Dufresne still perseveres. And I think that's an awesome message. And it gets me through a lot.
Well, I like that message. I like the still persevering because it can be hard sometimes.
Yeah.
It can be hard to pick yourself up. Thank you so much, Aaron, for coming on this show and sharing your movies and all your experiences with us. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at AT Titanium. That's AT and then Titanium. I also have an Instagram under the same name, but I don't use it that often. If you want to look at pictures of my dogs, you're more than welcome to do that. So
Very good. So AT like Aaron Turner,
that's
Titanium.
me.
There we
That's
go.
it.
There we go. That's how we put it together. You guys can find me on Twitter at Miss Movies. And I want to say thank you to everyone that's in the chat. And just from what I can see, I've been seeing you guys doing your conversations, and it's lovely. More vids inside the Empire, Albert, Eric, Laura. And I know there are definitely more people here, and I want to thank you for being here. All right. Thank you so much, Aaron. I hope,
Thank you.
and thank you all for listening. We will see you next time. Bye. 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 Bye.